Hey, welcome back. It's Nolan Mathias from Mortgage 360, and today we're giving you your February 2021 real estate market update for all of Canada. Well, at least for most of Canada. But before we get into it, do me that favor, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and please hit that like button so more people like you can see this video. And don't forget about our race to 10,000 subscribers. Oh my gosh, in the last 28 days, we have added more than 1,100 subscribers. You guys are absolutely amazing, and we're continuing to grow and grow and grow and grow. And when we get to 10,000 subscribers, we are going to pay off one lucky person's monthly rent or mortgage payment just for subscribing to this channel. So go ahead, do me that favor, hit that subscribe button. It's free and it's totally worth it. Okay, so let's get into it. Let's discuss the Canadian real estate market across Canada for February of 2021. And what we've done in this video is we've made it really simple. We aren't going to go into every single market, but what we've done is we've picked certain markets that are representative of their province and the major markets mostly, so the Vancouvers, the Calgarys, the Torontos, and the Montreals of the world. Now, we skipped over a few smaller provinces and obviously the Northwest Territories, Nunavut, and so on and so forth. But what we're trying to do here is give you an overall representation of what's happening across Canada. And the methodology that we've used here is really simple. We've gone to the individual real estate boards and picked out their data for January of 2021 that they release in early February. That's why this is the February market update. And basically what we've done is we've taken the bigger areas, so the GTA or the Greater Vancouver area, used the numbers for the overall area rather than individual areas, and basically compiled this in a really easy format. So what we're going to do is we're going to go west to east, starting with Vancouver. Let's head into the computer screen here and take a look at the Vancouver numbers. Their benchmark price as of right now is up 5.5%, and the benchmark itself is at $1,056,600. So this is the only real estate market in Canada that has a benchmark price or an average price that is over $1 million. Obviously, Vancouver is one of the hottest markets in Canada right now. Their sales are up 52% compared to last January, and their active listings are down about 3.6%. So their active listings are actually doing fairly well compared to last year, but that sales number, that sales volume is high, which has led to that increase of 5.5%. Now, moving a little bit further east, we'll get to our local town here, which is Calgary. And in Calgary, we're having a pretty good market considering that the oil economy is a little bit depressed and whatnot. And our benchmark price is up 1.9% to $423,800. Now, our sales, similar to Vancouver, are up 41%. And the active listings are down 22%. So what's spurring on a little bit of the price increase is that there's less listings, people are getting a little bit more panicked, and as a result, they're getting into the market a little bit quicker than they normally would. The spring market seems to be moved forward a little bit this year than it typically would be otherwise. Going further east here, we're going to look at Saskatchewan, and specifically Saskatoon. And we're going to use Saskatoon because it is the bigger of the two metropolitan areas in Saskatchewan. And the benchmark price there is up 4.7%. Now, their sales are not up quite as much as other areas. They're only up 26.9% as far as sales go, but their active listings are down 24.5%, which is leading to that little bit higher bump up than areas like Calgary. Now, their HPI benchmark is, and HPI, by the way, stands for Home Price Index, is $320,300. It is a little bit lower for Regina, just in case you were wondering. Then as we move into Winnipeg, we look at the average price there is up 13.5%. Now you've noticed that now we're talking about average price instead of benchmark price, because different markets use different ways of determining what the average or fair market value is in a particular market. This is the reason why economists in Canada tend not to rely on real estate boards as their means of getting information and using information to predict what's going on in the overall market. They typically use new home sales prices because Stats Canada monitors new home sales, and therefore it's a more reliable piece of data. And in Winnipeg, they use average price instead of benchmark price. Now, what a benchmark price is that's what the price of a typical property would look like. So in different markets, it can be different things. In some markets, it's a two-story house with a certain number of bedrooms and so on and so forth. And that benchmark really becomes the number that is used to see how the market looks like when you look at comparable properties. Now, in Winnipeg, they're using average sale price. Now, the problem with average sale price is if you have a couple properties that sell for really, really low, it can bring the average sale price down. And if you have a couple properties that sell for a really, really high price, it can artificially bring the average price up. So it's not as considered as reliable of a piece of data. That may be why we're seeing Winnipeg's average price be up 13.5% as opposed to Calgary and Saskatoon that use a benchmark price and aren't seeing as big of gains. In Winnipeg, though, what we can tell you with certainty is that the sales are up about 20.7%. and active listings are down 40%. By the way, active listings, that's the number of listings that are on the market. I'm using active listings rather than new listings because it is a better indicator of what's available as opposed to the number of people that are coming into the market to sell. By the way, new listings is a really hard piece of data to use because there's certain things that can happen at different times of the year, like Christmas, for example, where people take their houses off the market and then bring them back on in January. And in times where it's a harder market, less people will take their property off the market. And in good markets, when they kind of know with certainty that properties are going to sell in January, they may take their property off the market instead of keeping it on the market. So new listings isn't really a reliable number. We like to use that active listings number rather than new listings because it gives a better overall picture of what's actually happening in the market. And in Winnipeg, their average price is, and this is for a detached house because again, we don't have a benchmark. So we're using the detached house average price. It is $352,185. Now, moving on to the GTA, Toronto, the second biggest market in Canada with respect to housing prices and values. The average price there is up 15.5%. Again, we're using average price and not a benchmark price. That just tends to be how Manitoba and Toronto both like to run their numbers here. Their sales are up a staggering 50%, which is really big. And their active listings are down only 4.8%. Now, again, that active listings number being down only 4.8%. and then seeing average price up 15.5% could be something to do with the fact that we're using an average price instead of a benchmark price. There could be a lot of really high-end properties selling out there, which there are. We're seeing the condo market kind of deflate in Toronto, and we're seeing the suburbs and areas that have bigger houses and more amenities and things like that go up. So it makes sense that the average price would be up a little bit more than what, a benchmark price in Vancouver would be, considering that the average price takes into consideration really, really high-end homes that are selling. And then last but not least, we're going to get into Montreal here and the Quebec market. Median price there is up 23%. Now you notice that we've moved to median price, not average price. So what median price is that's the property that sold that was right in the middle. So let's say there was 1,000 houses sold in Montreal. The median price would be the one that is right in the middle. So house number 500 if you stack them on top of each other, right? And that median price is basically the price of the house that's in the middle. And it is, again, not as reliable of a number as a benchmark value, which could be why you're seeing the prices be up 23% there, because their sales are actually not up as much as other markets. Their sales are only up 17%, but their active listings are down 25%, and the median price in Montreal is $434,000. So really interesting contrasts here across the country, depending on benchmark values versus average values versus median. It seems like where there is a benchmark type of property being used, the average price or the benchmark price is only up a little bit, versus you look at that average price or that median price and it's up significantly more. And that makes sense for this market because, again, we're seeing that move away from smaller condos and places where people are living on top of each other to, basically respacing themselves into bigger homes because they're working at home with their spouses. Maybe they're having kids at home when they're not at school a little bit more often. So it makes sense that we're seeing median prices and average prices increase pretty substantially across the country. So that's your real estate market update for February 2021. Leave me in your comments below. Did you enjoy it? Would you like to see different markets? Would you like to see us include Ottawa or maybe eastern provinces, maybe Victoria? Tell me which markets you would like to see and we'll see if we can include them in the next video. And until then, do me that favor, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and please hit that like button so more people like you can see this video. And don't forget about our race to 10,000 subscribers, where one lucky subscriber is certainly going to win their monthly mortgage payment or rent payment just for subscribing to this channel. Cheers, we'll see you on the next video.